Welcome back to Lunar D8. Acts like a dumbass and just makes a bunch of dark humor, lewd humor, inappropriate jokes and comments, and is all around just a very awkward person. More than likely, I would expect nobody out there will enjoy this video in any way whatsoever, and no matter who you are, I will find something to offend you. But don't forget, I'm evil. Okay, all bullshittery aside, if anyone has any game suggestions or anything, feel free to suggest them. But like I've said before, I promise nothing, I guarantee even less, and the only thing consistent about this channel is a complete lack of professionalism. That being said, greetings one and all to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. This is part 3 of Let's Play Inescapable, No Rules, No Rescue. I don't know if anything will really ever actually happen in this game. If it is, it's going to be a very long build-up that most people would probably find boring. And you're just going to have me awkwardly talking over things, going off on tangents, and making inappropriate comments. And just, all in all, voicing whatever's on my mind, as I'm confused about, I guess, basic social interaction. That being said, this is like Danganronpa, but I guess I don't know if anyone will actually ever die, which is good. Yay, everyone happy. Everyone can get along and no one will ever die. And nothing, after all, it's better everything be boring, because at the end of the day, the opposite of that is something on the island is on fire, or someone died. But everyone in Danganronpa is jealous of everyone in this game. It's a game where everyone's going to get to live, right? I mean, it is described as Danganronpa, but with a slower build-up and less gore and stuff. So maybe nobody will die at all in any way whatsoever. That being said, while I can't remember what other game that the developer of this game made, the publisher of this game is responsible for the Deathmark series. Now, as far as who's the developer of that game, I can't remember. But there's coming out with a third Deathmark game sometime in a couple months from now. So, maybe I'll give it a shot. Let's hop back into this. I can listen, but I really don't think you should force Mia to do anything. Force her? We want to help her. Okay. If you don't like what she was wearing, it sounds like it's a you problem. It's not a me problem. Like I said, I think it'd be awesome for people to have more than one outfit. But yeah, let people wear what they want. Isaac, didn't we agree that she expresses how she likes, and that's all that matters? One can simply commit a murder in fashion and get away with it. Can't. Murder should be what the fuck, man?
What
Have you considered you might hurt her feelings? Fashion does, but people do. But Mia does, and she's not a fashion person. If you're on a diet, that doesn't mean I can't eat cookies, you know? Are you suggesting nothing can be done about her clothes? I'm saying you could give someone more than one outfit.
Well,
but it's their choice what they want to wear. Simply put, if you want somebody to wear a different set of clothes, give them the other set of clothes. And be like, hey, these clothes look cool, here's a gift. You know, trying to think of a holiday other than Christmas, because, you know, it was like a day or two ago. 2 days? Okay, 2 days. I'm just saying, you can give it to a person as a gift, and they can decide if they want to wear it. She might rest in changing her fashion, improving her looks while keeping the essence. But why, though? It's a good start, go with that. But don't be abrasive. It's her choice, after all. You've got to respect that. Fashion advice, everyone should be receiving. Yes, but their choice whether or not they want to, you know, use it. I mean, it's like, you can have books about, like, oh, this fashion looks cool. Cool. But I'd rather wear this.
seriously.
It's up to them, they want to accept it. Yeah, like I said, doesn't hurt to have more options, though. Understand your point of view, we'll try it your way.
Thanks.
Just be considerate. I feel like I don't have any choices, though, in this visual novel. But then again, on the one hand, I'd have a lot of pressure from making all these choices. On the other hand, I feel like I'm just passively reading this. Though I think, even I only did one part, but I think Stella of the End is that kind of, what's it called? It's a kinetic novel? Or non-kinetic? Basically, it's a visual novel where you really don't have any choices or options or influence, and you're just sort of watching it. So you're just watching and reading, and you as the player don't have the ability to change the story or interact. Which, I mean, it's still good for a story. I mean, it's not like you can change a novel as you're reading the novel, but... And I just immediately started staring at her tits. Well, it is what it is. That being said, yeah, I mean, you can't just change a novel as you're reading it. But it's cool that in video games you get to interact, you get to do things. Heck, I was playing the Cyberpunk game here recently, and it's just fun to just drive around and go super fast and do all sorts of silly shenanigans. Though, I wonder what kind of, like, it'd be nice if, like, mods were available on the PlayStation, like you just, the way you do it on computers. Wonder if they'll ever come up with another DLC or anything. Though I still think it's odd that Carrie Eurodyne lives right across the street from Yorinobu. They like live literally right across the street. Good, I've caught you at an appropriate time. You have surveillance on us 24/7. What, am I taking a shit right now? Hearts, you're not doing anything. Curiously, bring up subterfuge. Exactly why I'm calling you. What is it? This is some dirty scheme, I can feel it. Do tell.
Do play your part.
Okay, what the fuck? Check your app, you'll now be able to unlock more information about contestants. Contains both gossip and dirt. Isn't that the same thing? Naughty experiences or dubious secrets? Again, are you just like... Did you just get a thesaurus and you're like really wanting to use every synonym you can? And now I'm just thinking about cinnamon toast. There's different spellings, one starts with S, one starts with C, and I'm a fucking fat ass. Play along to your part and you will gain points with which you can unlock info. Choose wisely on what kind of knowledge you want to get.
What are you saying?
Feel like you dog, you tug. It's like a fuck horse's horse, carrot, stick. I tug. Oh. And we have an erection in record time while playing a video game. Yay, world record! That being said, I have actually... Granted, it's the most pointless fucking world record in the world. But in the Binding of Isaac Repentance, I went to floor 9,000 and plus in the Binding of Isaac Repentance Infinite Basements. It took like 2 months to do. And while the end-game clock says about like 18 or 20 hours, it's actually 40 because every time you go to a new floor or a boss, it pauses the clock. And a lot of times it takes more time for that to load than it does for it to actually run through the floor or use the card tarot thing. Also, I grinded 9,000 plus deaths in a single level of Crash Bandicoot 4. It also took I think 37 hours of me listening to Korn albums, podcasts, audiobooks of light novels, fan fictions and stuff like that. But mostly music, like Korn. Bloody hell, she's confusing. Alright, I should actually read things. How do I... Nope. Nope. What? Yes. Nope. How do I... When I tug, men usually enjoy it. If you leave your mind open, you might too. Bloody hell, she's confusing me. I don't think people like their secrets revealed from the press of a button. Nobody here would be happy if they find out I know something. An apple, right? Apple of Discord! Only one secret at a time. What you do with that information is up to you. You're an island with 10 other strangers. Use whatever you can to survive. What about the rest? Will they gain the same app? Are my secrets just as accessible?
You don't believe.
You don't have to worry about that for now. Think of how you will utilize the tool. Will it be gossip or dirt? Isn't that the same thing? What's the difference? I'm watching you closely, Harrison. Am I the only one who got this app? Is everyone else getting the app? Are you telling each of us we're the only one who gets the app? Wait, misbehave. I would like the voice acting for all of that. And what do you mean misbehave in that tilde at the end? Are you saying not to misbehave, or are you like, ooh, please, I want to see you be naughty? Blah, 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 blah. What am I supposed to do? How do I use the app? Okay, I see it up here. Dirt and gossip. What is the difference? I assume gossip's just silly, secret, and bears, and dirt's more... Well, I guess at that point I need to know stuff that's important. I have a question. I would imagine most people would choose Ava in this situation. Again, like and comment the video if you want to see more of this game. And also, what choices you guys would make in these situations. And would you even want to see multiple playthroughs? Like, I imagine this is probably really boring for all of you, but, I mean, I'm enjoying it, but... yeah. But I would assume most people would. So, do I just use this and click this? 50 points. I have dirt points. Can I just go to the... Nope, I have to do it in progression. Ava lied to her mom often about where she was spending her nights. Isn't that like most people that use an Instagram? I don't know. I've never used an Instagram. People on Instagram, why do you use the Instagram? What's the point? I don't understand it. Ava's ADHD. Hides the fact, lies to cover it. Girls, stop lying to yourself. I still say I don't have ADHD or autism or any sort of things like that. I've never been actually diagnosed with it. So, I'm just saying I can't stay on a single topic because I'm eccentric. Maybe I'll try to take like a... Would an online ADHD test or autism test be a thing? Would it even be accurate? Or more so just a suggestion? Once took it like a depression test. It's supposed to be a personality test about like clinical thing about depression. I'm like, I got a perfect score. Yay. It's like perfect score on depression. You won the depression high prize. Like, great. Fuck you, computer. Ava stole a donation box from a charitable organization and never returned the money. Gossip points are something different. Ava invited a person out on a date after she was struck by remorse for his misfortune. She continued the lies to make him feel better, after which she ended the relationship. Ava pretended to be a vegan and an activist in order to get a date with a crush. And that's all I have points on. Neat. Who would you guys have researched first? Does it count as research? What's the appropriate, like, just snooping, breach of privacy, stalking, being a dick? I imagine there might be different playthroughs where I just like try to talk to one person. Kind of tempted to come over here and talk to Lumi. Let's go to the kitchen. I really am a fucking fat ass. Guys, do we have cookies? Want cookies?
Fish.
Yay! What are you guys cooking?
Mate,
Sounds good.
Yeah, some items can be a little complicated to cook. And like everyone's like, rice isn't complicated. I know. But sometimes like there's certain things that even if they seem simple, everyone's got maybe a higher failure rate when they cook it. That like, oh, some didn't turn out right. Like, oh, I cooked my lasagna, but it's doughy. Everyone's like, why is your lasagna doughy? That's not even how... I'm sorry, I didn't have an actual example. Like pizza? Well, let's say you made a stromboli and you didn't cook it right. Or your lasagna... How would you guys cook lasagna? You think usually the best way is you take the boiled egg noodles and you... Some people use ricotta, or cottage, or cheese, or cheddar. And then, of course, various meats. My mom used to cook quite a bit of lasagna homemade in the past when I was a lot younger, but she doesn't really cook anymore, but that's more reason not really people to cook for, and also old and see, strokes and stuff. So
Fish?
that is what it is. Do meat. All types of meat. Every way of meat doing. Like, yeah, there's baking, there's skillet frying, I don't think we have the way of smoked meat here.
Honey is happy.
Well, I mean, it's delicious. I mean, that's why so many restaurants, that's the main thing you can buy. Burger King has gotten rich off of the meat. You guys remember Proton John essay? Second part, don't eat the mushroom. Also, don't do drugs.
Annie helps.
Yay!
Sounds good.
Yay. I should read things. Anyway, we can possibly go on the island.
Annie will happily.
What was the fucking flashbang? Oh. I forget. I think she's from Brazil. I can't remember.
Fish?
Okay, Fafa. That's very kind of you.
Sure.
What do you suggest? I don't know what that is. I don't think she likes it.
Annie helps.
Oh, of course not. It has rice. Couldn't we substitute something else in it instead of rice? Tortilla?
Oh, Jesus credo.
I don't understand what's wrong. I'm so confused. Isn't tortilla made out of corn? Or wheat? Isn't there an Italian dish called gnocchi? It starts with the letter G, but that's sort of, a silent letter, and it's like, it's dumplings made out of potatoes?
Porra.
I don't understand what's happening! Why are you angry? I don't understand. What is... I don't know why you're upset. Me and Annika are very much on the same loop here. What is happening? I don't understand why you're mad.
For this.
A lot of food gets used in different countries. Oh wait, you're from Spain? I thought you were from Brazil. I think I need notes so I can remember who's from where. But again, why are you mad? It's not like anyone means disrespect by it. We're like, hey! I mean, it's kind of like if I was like down in Louisiana, I'm like, hey! Let's make burritos. And like, that's not... Like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make food. Again, it's not like any disrespect was intended. Annika's actually trying to be sweet and wholesome. She's like, hey, I want to be able to make food that you would like and that would make you happy. I remember you're from this various area of Europe, and I know that there's these certain dishes that get made there. Would you like to make these? There's no reason to be pissed. If someone was like, hey, Lunar, you're an American. Do you want to eat 5-pound cheeseburgers? I don't think I'd be offended at that. Then again, I'd be like, hell yeah, that sounds great. I'm so fucking fat. Like I said, we can all look at the live stream so you can see how fucking fat I am. Beyond me being fat. I mean, also, they were like, hey, you want egg rolls? I'm like, that's a Chinese thing, but still, hell yeah, that sounds delicious. But again, I feel like there's some, like, implication that this is like, oh, that you're being racist or something. But I'm like, there's nothing offensive here. She's trying to be sweet, fun, wholesome, all, This is like getting upset at a cat for bringing you a mouse. Yes, it killed the mouse, but it's a present. Annika means no harm by it, and it's honestly, there's no reason for you to be pissed about it. You're acting like this is like being racist or some kind of shit. And it's not. It's just, hey, you're from this one part of the world. I hear this one kind of food. Would you like that food? No, you don't? Okay. I'm open to suggestions. It's like, yeah, we're sorry you're pissed, but they're... Why? Maybe I'm just too fat to think about that as anything other than, yay, food! It's delicious! Yeah, why? And even, it's not even enough of a fuck up to even be called a mistake. It's literally just, hey, I know these dishes from that region of the world. Would you like to make this? You didn't even have to bring up what part of the world it was from. You could have said, no, I don't want to make that. That doesn't sound good or tasty to me. At most, you could be like, oh no, that's a Spanish thing. I'm Portuguese. Or Brazilian. I don't know how that... I don't understand why it matters. And if it does, again, just say, okay, that's not where that part of the world comes from. Cool, thank you. I now know more about your homeland and what kind of food you like. There was no reason for anyone to get upset at each other. There was no one trying to attack anyone. At no point has Annika, I think, said anything rude or mean or offensive to anyone in any way. She's just literally, hey, I just want to be, happy and cook some good food. Like, she's just literally, hey, would you like this food? You could have said, no, thank you. Or even like, hey, no, that's not from the region you think I'm from. Like, oh, okay, I'm mixing that up. Cool. And then you'd be like, well, I'd rather make this other thing. Or I'd be like, oh, that's not from the region you think it is. That's actually from this place, not from this place. But your idea sounds delicious. And it's going to be delicious.
Just thinking about it.
Okay, good. Because here's the thing. I'm going to side with Annika because she didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, but again, I'll tell you this. One thing I find really weird is I see these videos of people, apparently that are college students, that don't know where fucking major countries are. To where they'll even point to America on a map. And they'll say, oh, is that China? Or is that India? Or is that like, what the fuck? Now here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. You ask where certain smaller countries are, and these giant, basically groupings of a bunch of smaller countries, I might have trouble picking those out. It's kind of like, take all the different states here in America. I wouldn't expect people from other countries to know about all the different states. I mean, heck, take here in Ohio. We have 88 counties in our state. I, for the most part, only tend to remember the county I'm in, and the counties that are my neighbors, and the counties that have cities that have places where I have interest to go. So at most, I know maybe 15% of the counties in my own state. Now that being said, I at least know where all the major countries in Europe are. I can just picture in my head an image of Europe and know where everything is. Granted, more of the western side of it. The eastern side is a little bit more of a blur. That being said, I can plainly imagine an outline of the country borders of Spain and the image of Portugal in Spain. I distinctly know where Portugal is, and I distinctly know where Spain is. That being said, I have no clue what is considered traditional food in Spain and what is considered traditional food in Portugal. I mean, at this point, it's the year 2023. Hell, in less than a week, it'll be 2024. At this point, there really isn't regional foods anymore. Because the whole point of there being Spanish or Chinese food was the idea that each country based their cuisines on what spices and foods were available in that region. But now we have planes and all sorts of world travel, so you're having spices and foods from any other place in the world at any time. You're not limited to like what is available in your homeland. You have access to food from every corner of the world. And then they'd be like, oh, well, then If everything's so amazing, Lunar, why do you have a reason to be depressed? See, reason one. Slightly insane. But that's normal, I guess? I don't know. I mean, honestly, we're really to boil things down to is, take my job at a factory. I'm grateful for my job. It pays my bills, and it gives me money to buy video games like this. I'm by no means, endangered of being homeless or anything, and I have enough money to be fine. I'm never going to buy like a damn supercar, some bullshit, or own a fucking mansion or any of that shit. Hell, it's enough for me to just play Cyberpunk, and I have various little apartments and shit around there, and I can do stuff in all sorts of video games, and I can go anywhere in the world, be anybody, do anything in this virtual realm. That's cool. It's a fun little escapism, And here's the thing: there's so many things in video games that you would never do in real life, like GTA shit, like Shadow of War. Like, I'm not gonna have fucking Nemesis system combat with armies of orcs and come back from the dead over and over. But it's fun. It's fun to drive down the fucking sidewalk at 200 miles an hour while shooting rockets. But would you ever do that at IRL? No. Even if I was, immune to getting hurt physically myself. It's just... honestly, I would hope that I'd be able to go through my entire life and never hurt anybody. I just want to live peacefully with everyone, and I want a world where there's no war and where nobody would ever want to hurt anybody else. But at the same time, I still enjoy action movies. I still enjoy horror movies. I enjoy all sorts of violent video games. I still say Socrates is on the side of saying violent video games are good, because people say, oh, video games make more people more violent. Honestly, no. I think video games make the world a more peaceful place. And they're fun and they're enjoyable. And think of all the art. Heck, just look at this. Look at the design of how she is drawn, the outfit, the backgrounds. Hell, just look at the plants and the chili peppers. And I think that's a pineapple. It's cool that you can see all these art and music. And I'm grateful. Heck, we live in an era where all this anime and air conditioning and soda and... there's so many amazing things nowadays. And I'm grateful for all the books I have. But I guess, as far as reasons for me to be depressed, okay, one, a lot of people have treated me like shit in the past, so I do have some psychological issues over that. You can't have, you can't be beaten over and have people beat the shit out of you and call you horrible things over and over without that having some sort of effect. That, and maybe there's a brain chemistry issue. Maybe I'm just not having a certain chemical enough. Maybe I should start taking fucking antidepressants. And my job, I appreciate my job. I'm grateful for my job. But it's just the fact that most of my job, I'm extremely tired. My body hurts. Even right now, my knees, and Graham had a few days off already from work because the week off for Christmas. But it's just in general, I just feel like I'm getting old. I feel tired. It's just an issue of I feel tired. I feel like parts of me are hurting. My knees and my back and my shoulders. Even now, just moving my shoulder, parts of my elbow and my shoulder, they're in pain. So, and of course there's self-esteem issues. I'm fucking fat, which one, there's just how I feel about myself as a person. Two, there's the fact that it does have an effect on my health. So it probably is making me a bit more tired, and I'm worried that maybe in the future I might become diabetic. Heck, my teeth tend to hurt all the time from that one job where I was breathing powdered metal and paint and having to vomit and re-swallow my vomit as I worked. So I'm missing a few of my back teeth, and I have a few others that are kind of broken that need to be cut out at some point that get infected from time to time. I'm pretty sure, even though you can't really see them, I probably have 100 cavities, even though my teeth look pretty much whole, except for a couple little holes. But it's just... and parts of my teeth just tend to hurt. So even though it doesn't have a smell or anything, I'm pretty sure it's probably gum disease or something. So I'm okay, I'll probably be missing all my teeth. I'll probably go bald in the next decade. I don't know. It's just a concern of, what's happening with the economy, the world, politics, my health. And then, of course, like I said, with my job, like on the one hand, I appreciate my job, but it's like, one, like they're pushing quotas, and I'm like, I'm doing my best with that shit, and I'm like, it's not like I can work faster than I already am. I'm already doing my best, and it's like, okay, it's a little discouraging to feel like your best just isn't good knowledge. And even then, it's like, well, even as I do my job, I think, okay, is something in my knee just going to tear? Is something in my back going to give out? Because like I said, my knee, especially at work, I'm tired no matter how much caffeine I take. My knees and my back and my shoulders are in constant pain. I have migraines, and of course I'm having some psychological issues. And of course some people tend to get agitated about shit, and I'm like, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my best. Why is that not enough? And even then there's a concern that, okay, what if something happens and say my job goes under? What if, heck, I fuck up and some horrible thing happens and the job and everyone at work loses their job because of some fuck up I do? Or, again, what if I just get fired? What if they lay everyone off? What if the economy collapses? All goes out. At that point, like, okay, well, because even if it's like, granted, there are so many times I feel pissed off at my job, I feel like I'm just going to have to walk out. But at the same time, I don't, because I do need the money. And it's just an issue of, well, I'm grateful that the job gives me the money and medical insurance I need in order to, well, go see a doctor and, have medications and pay rent and have food and electricity and car insurance and internet and video games. In the same regard, I'm like, well, I'm usually stressed out, tired, and I'm in pain. I mean, heck, there's sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I should just go to a doctor and be like, just give me a high dose of some sort of antidepressants. Give me, like, I don't know, meth or something. Just prescription medicinal meth. Is that even a thing? And everyone's like, oh, that would be extremely dangerous to your body. Like, I get that, and I understand, and certainly would never advise anyone ever to do any sort of drug that would be extremely dangerous. But I'm like, I feel like I'm not... Like, I don't measure up in terms of how I'm supposed to be as a person. Like, I'm tired all the time. I'm not very physically strong. I tend to be sore. I wear out easily. I run out of breath sometimes. I have these migraines. I get confused. Sometimes when I'm at work, I start almost passing out. Sometimes when I'm at work, I'm working and I just feel sort of in a fog, like I can't think, and that I can't focus, and I feel confused, or I'm just sort of having inner monologue arguments with myself, or sometimes it's just, again, I act stoic in public, and I'm usually smiling and trying to be hella happy and shit, and I try to be all friendly and nice with everyone, but at the same time, like, there are so many times where I feel really emotionally fucked up to where I just want to, like, just sit down on the ground and start crying. And obviously you can't do that in public. One, I have a job to do, and that would get in the way of that. Two, let's be clear. Nobody out there is going to respect or give a shit if I have a fucking mental breakdown. Heck, most of the time am having a mental breakdown. I'm just really good at hiding them. But I mean, nobody's going to fucking give a shit or care. At least here, one, part of doing these Let's Plays is that I can voice whatever's on my mind without a filter. Because in real life, I can't. One, especially then, there are so many people out there that I don't want to talk to them about my personal things. It's personal. But at the same time, I feel the need to talk to somebody. So, one, I can't talk to people in real life because, well, most of those people, one, would not give a shit. Two, I'm sure as hell not going to talk to anybody at work, and even then, it's work. I'm there to do a job and go home. But the main point of that is I need to talk to somebody. But again, in real life, I mean, and part of me, I know it's arrogant, I know it's pretentious of me to feel this way, but part of me hopes that maybe if there are other people out there that would actually relate to how I feel, that feel the same way I do, then at least they know that, hey, there's other people that feel the same. That, hey, you're a lot more common than you think you are. That there's a lot of people out there that feel the way you do, that basically tend to go from day to day, feel that they're a complete fucking failure. Because that's the one way to look at it too. It's like, I work in a factory and nobody fucking respects that. And granted, yes, if I lose a job at a factory, well then I'm basically just some unemployed person who, even if I get a job working at a restaurant, that won't be enough to pay the rent. But it's just the fact that people tend to look down on you, people tend to talk down on you. And then, of course, there's the whole relationship stuff. I mean, one, I'm at least grateful I did have a marriage way back in the past, but the way it went, I am against ever getting married ever again. Ever. And I don't care about in regard to gender or orientation or any of that. I'm not marrying anybody. I am not ever getting married to anyone of any gender orientation ever. Just because that was a really bad experience. And I don't want to go through that ever again. In the same regard, I am very lonely. And yeah, part of that is, hey, I'm horny. Hell, take the woman on the screen right now. She is incredibly beautiful. Heck, the other woman, also on the screen, also very beautiful. And, like I said, let's just imagine I look like Harrison. I mean, it's basically the way I dress. Just imagine Harrison, but like 400 pounds fatter or some shit. Because like I said, you guys can see the live streams. You can see how not athletic I am. But it's just an issue of, again, I appreciate my job. It's just, I'm always sore, I'm always hurt, I'm always upset at other things. I'm like, at this point, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it's the only way I'm actually going to be happy is if the, doctor pumps me full of antidepressants and, like, meth. And, I don't know, gives me a little gel-filled backpack to, like, strap my arm to constantly pump in morphine or some bullshit. Though, honestly, that's probably how a lot of people would actually become addicts. I mean, that shit is dangerous and extremely addictive to people. Granted, when I do go to work, I probably take way more Advil than I should. But again, it's an issue of, yeah, it'd be better if you don't take the Advil. But guess what? Then you're going to slow down even more at your job. And as is, even with the Advil and caffeine, I can't hit the numbers they want. I'm doing the best I can. And that's one thing, people get upset at you for like, oh, you didn't hit these one numbers on your quotas and shit. I'm like, it'd be one thing if you're upset at me because I'm just fucking off, doing nothing, and just looking up fucking tentacle hentai on my phone. Obviously, people like that are going to get fired. I mean, and granted, yes, I look up tons of tentacle hentai. But I do that at home, on my own time. All bullshittery aside, I do my best at my job. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like any day I'm going to fuck up so bad that the building burns down or they lose all their business with their customers. And it's like, oh, everyone in the building loses their job because of me. Thousands of people are going to die because of me. Everything's my fault. I'm going to fuck up so bad that everything gets ruined. I lose my job, become unemployed, won't be able to do anything else, won't be able to pay my rent. Like I said, I'll be here. Lunar will keep making the world's cringiest fucking videos until something happens to where I can't afford, to pay the internet anymore or a place to live, at which point you'll never hear from me again. Other situations where you won't hear from me is if I die of a fucking heart attack. Sometimes I have fucking chest pains. Or something happens and I just die. Or maybe if I adopt a couple bunnies. Sometimes I think if I want to get a couple cute little bunnies and name them Lace and Iris. Yes, it's a reference to Dragon Spirit, the new legend, the best NES game ever made back in 1987 by Bandai. And I'm just saying this. Heck, if I could afford it and I think they would get along, I would have 2 bunnies and 2 cats and 2 dogs. Maybe like more animals too, but but I don't think they would all get along. I'm just saying, like, I get a couple bunnies or something, I'm not gonna make videos anymore. You're like, oh, what happened to Lunar? Oh, he's spending all his free time playing with the bunnies. I'm like, bunnies. I don't know. In short, maybe it's a chemical issue in my brain. Maybe it's just the fact that I tend to be sore or tired. Ask the doctor, hey, doctor, can you just give me some medication that gives me a shit ton of dopamine or something? Or it makes me not feel pain? Or makes me just feel better? Is that how that works? I don't know. And heck, beyond that, I mean, you know, there's family issues, there's psychological issues, there's worry about health issues. I mean, beyond that, when it comes to relationships, datings, friendships and stuff, I really just don't really feel like I have anybody. I mean, aside from family members, I mean, I'll give my son hugs when I go see him, and I give my mom like a brief, like 10, 15-second hug when I go see her. But aside from that, I don't remember what hugs feel like. And don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm horny. Yes, I want sex. Yes, I think about sexual lewd things all the fucking time. Of course, in real life, you know, you can't say certain things because it would be rude. And of course, you're not going to share, you know, your thoughts of, hey, look, I'm staring at that person's cleavage. Boobies. But here, it's more so, hey, I'm saying what everybody's thinking. It's like, oh, she's got a pretty face. I like her abs. That's basically abs as far as I'm concerned. I like her hips. I like her tits. I like the clothes she's wearing. Everyone is pretty. So, we're just being honest with, hey, the people on here are sexually attractive. Yeah. Same way I'm like, hey guys, I'm a 36-year-old man. I like tentacle hentai. Who else watches tentacle hentai? I also like Futanari. But, you know, again, same way like we're having the conversation, I think, with Sasha on a previous video. You know, obviously, me yelling stuff out, that's more so, it's what you're thinking in your mind. Like, okay, what is being meant by things? I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about now. I think it was like why I'd be depressed. And I think the short answer is I'm tired. Maybe a brain chemical thing. Maybe I'm just extremely lonely. Or maybe it's just instances like, again, I was 13 years old, but still. And it's like, okay, we're talking about something like 20 plus years ago. But still, spending an hour having people 5v1 beating the shit out of you in a fucking back alley, telling you that you're a fucking retarded faggot, for like an hour, getting punched like thousands of times, getting stomped on, and knocked around, you know, it still bothers me. It still makes me angry. I still feel humiliated. I still feel hurt and disrespected by it. And I feel a little upset because, you know, other people sort of just didn't care. The people that... And it's just other things like that. And it's just... On the one hand, you're bothered by shit in the past where people treat you like shit. Then you're bothered by the fact that, honestly, let's say I go to Walmart and walk around. Anybody I could talk to at the Walmart, even if it's a Walmart employee or somebody that's a vendor or a customer, doesn't matter who they are at the Walmart or what walk of life they are in life. All of them are probably looking at me like I'm disgusting, like I'm hideous to look at, like I'm worthless, like I have no value as a person. So it's just the general feeling that everyone hates me, that everyone considers me worthless, that every time you go outside, there's a chance something will go wrong, and like, oh, what if you accidentally get in a car wreck here? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Then again, I'm the sort of person, like, if I go to a restaurant, most times if I go to a restaurant, I'm just sort of there by myself because, one, antisocial, two, nobody would want to be social with me. So, I mean, again, what would they have to get out of it? Why on earth, even if I'm paying for the meal, why would they want to be there with me? What? I don't have value as a fucking human being. I'm not a person. So again, it's just a generally feeling of, okay, I feel unwanted, I feel worthless, I feel hated, I feel like I just don't feel cared about as a person, or that my feelings or thoughts matter to anyone, and that I just don't belong around any of the other people because I'm not wanted. That I can feel a person's immediate thought if I go up to someone and just start talking to them and having a normal conversation with them would be, who the fuck is this ugly ass, disgusting, fat ass weirdo? Why is he bothering me? I wish he would go away. Why is he talking to me? He needs to stop talking to me. I wish he were dead. That's how I feel everyone thinks about me at all fucking times. Then again, I have reasons to think that way because lots of people have made it clear that is how they thought, but again, there's a difference between maybe a few hundred or thousand instances of people going up to you and spitting in your face and punching you repeatedly or jumping you and over again and constantly being told over and over horrible things about yourself thousands and thousands of times over the course of not just in school but other places as well. But again, prolonged isolation, maybe other psychological issues of the fact that in general, I mean, heck, and just feeling like no one actually respects you, no one actually cares about you. There's something to drink, water jugs over there. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing Cyberpunk 2077. It's a fun game. It's a PS5. Bought it a month ago or something. We'll say this. Playing the Phantom Liberty DLC now, and it seems when you use the PS5 upgrade on the PS5, because it's a PS4 disc, because I had originally bought the game 3 years ago when it came out, but I had to wait until I bought a PS5 to actually really be able to play it, because I couldn't get past the first mission without it crashing. Bought a PS5, I actually play, but it also crashed quite a bit still. But it worked a lot better. Phantom Liberty seems to crash a lot less. Still see some glitches and stuff. Honestly, some crazy bullshit happens sometimes. When you call the car, and it just sort of flies through buildings and shit, and stuff just starts exploding, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? So, but it's more so little fun things here and there. It does seem like it has more multiple playthrough stuff that could happen. I'm still interested in what kind of DLCs you could have, or mods. But we'll see what comes after. But all in all, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. It's just... heck. I mean... like, if I sit at a restaurant by myself, I'm usually watching... like, if I enter a restaurant, I'll be subtle about it. Like, here's the thing. And you guys may feel, oh, Lunar doesn't have subtlety. The moment you see a girl on screen, you're talking about how amazing her tits are, and how you want to motorboat and suck her nipples, and how much you want to bounce up and down on a futonary cock. I like penis, okay? I am Lunar D8, and I love dicks. I also love boobies. Yeah. But you're not going to say that. I mean, one, that's kind of not very polite conversation. And in general, I mean, I try to at least read body language, understand what people are thinking. And granted, in my mind, a lot of times, yeah, like you heard in the previous video, I'm like going, like, what the fuck is happening? But I'm not actually saying that out loud because that'd be freaking everyone the fuck out. But that's what I'm thinking. But you're trying to understand. Okay, what's the other person thinking? How are they feeling? What are they trying to tell me? What do they like? What is it they're trying to communicate? What are they feeling? Though usually I'm constantly feeling like, okay, everyone hates me. Like everyone's just angry at me. Then again, to some degree, it's evolved into a degree of paranoia because at any time, whether it's even people at work, I mean, heck, there's sometimes I'll talk to my coordinator and I'm just like imagining that he's just going to haul off and punch me in the face. And again, there's no reason for that. It's more so just a psychological issue on my part, where I'm just sort of, but that's just because I've had a lot of times where it's just out of the blue for no reason, just, hey, guess what? I'm getting my ass kicked now. That's great. Let's just get punched over and over, or drop kicked in the back, or people throwing shit at you. But I'll sit at a restaurant and I'll be subtle about it. Like, obviously in a video game, if I'm like, hey, look, boobies, and I'm saying it outright to you guys because that's what I'm thinking. And granted, there's other stuff, but at least, hey, it also makes it kind of more entertaining. Like, hey guys, boobies, hit the like button, blah blah blah. But I don't know, okay, you can be subtle about stuff, and of course you're not going to just outright stare at people's body parts. That's not very polite. But in a video game, it's a video game. It's the same way in Grand Theft Auto. You're not going to drive down the fucking sidewalk at 200 miles an hour and then use a tank cheats to start flying through the sky shooting rockets and shit. In a video game, yes. In real life, no. Everyone's like, yes, I agree. Like, I'll walk past those big-ass semi-trucks with the gas containers that, refuel gas stations, and part of me imagines, what if I had a SMG right now, and I could shoot all into that gas tank, or the propane tank, and watch it explode? Would I actually do it? No. First off, because I don't have an SMG. But two, even if I for some reason was walking down a city with a fucking SMG, I would not do that. People would get hurt. Innocent people would get hurt. Hopefully there isn't a time where America's descended into civil war and everything looks like post-apocalyptic bullshit. I don't know. Hopefully then it will be more like Cyberpunk. I mean, heck, we all have cool science fiction shit, and maybe it'll make it worth it. I don't know. What would make the apocalypse better for you guys? Cookies? I think that's why I came to the kitchen, right? I wanted cookies. I don't know. But I'll go to a restaurant, and like I said, I can be subtle. But say I go to a Texas Roadhouse. I'll go in there and I'll be very subtle about it, but I will basically try to look very subtly at the face of every person in the building. That way I can make sure that they're not staring at me too much, or planning to try to kill me, or there's somebody that I knew from the past that would have a reason to hold some sort of grudge against me, or they might be plotting to hurt me. And again, I know that sounds paranoid. But, I can at least have that paranoia and have no one notice. I can walk through the restaurant, go to my seat, very subtly know where everyone is, who everyone is, where their faces are, where the exits are, and watch for any sort of movements. That way, if I see anybody sitting down at the table, I see, oh, there's that family of four. They just stood up, and they're walking. Here's these people close to me. Here's the reach. And it's just sort of that idea, okay, I'm going to eat this baked potato and this steak now. But I'm also watching this person at the bar in case they suddenly take the steak knife and try to stab me to death. Are they going to stab me to death? No. That's extremely unlikely. But I'm still watching them in case they do it. Heck, most time I'm taking a shower, I am looking outside the shower curtain in case somebody's going to try to kill me. Or I'm looking in the mirror in case my reflection were to try to leap out of the mirror and try to kill me. I look down every time I walk past the staircase. I'm looking down the staircase. Hell, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking at the mirror and I'm watching my reflection, make sure it doesn't pull any shit. But also, I'm looking to the left so I can see the staircase. That way, if there's anything that starts crawling up the fucking staircase, I can see it. I look out the fucking peepholes of the doors when I go out. Hell, even though I have the fucking doors downstairs because my bedroom's on the second floor, even though I have the doors locked and I have a little alarm set, and in general, it's not like there's crime in the part of the city where I live in. So I live in a place that's peaceful. There's no real crime. There's no reason to expect anything. The doors are locked. I have nothing of value to steal other than the fucking PS5. Which now you can like find dozens of them at a fucking Walmart. I mean, I remember at one point no one could even see a PS5. I think it wasn't until a couple months ago I even saw a PS5 in person. And that's almost like 3 years after they came out. Which I'll say this, it's fucking awesome. I'm glad to have the PS5. It was like $500. And I'll tell you this. It's awesome. I suggest the PS5. It's fun. I still have yet to hop into Shadow War on it. I'm kind of curious if like the AI for the Nemesis system is going to be any better. But part of it's like I don't even bother really trying to talk to people anymore because what's the point? None of them even want to talk to me. I mean, what? It's not like there's anything good I could possibly expect out of any of it. I mean, it just everything seems to either be just disappointment or something bad happening. So the only thing I have to look forward to is either, okay, I go out and interact with people. What's going to happen? One, something terrible happens and I get hurt in some way. Or two, I just get disappointed. So what's the point of putting myself at risk of physical harm or having my heart broken or being just disappointed and feeling dejected and worthless? What's even the point anymore? Yay, this has been an encouraging pep talk from Lunar D8. It's more so just evolved into, hey, I'm Lunar D8. I feel slightly sad and lonely and shit. Do other people feel this way? Or am I just being a fucking bitch? But I'm just saying that the doors are locked. It's a peaceful part of the town. And even then, bedroom doors also locked. There's an alarm set there, especially when I'm sleeping. I also have iron dumbbells stacked in front of the door. And then I also put a metal folding chair on top of that so everything will clink and be an issue. That being said, anyone ever breaks into my fucking house, I mean, I have weapons for self-defense, particularly a compound bow with arrowheads that are meant for fucking deer. With barbs that are meant to... Like, I'm just saying this. Even a person comes with a fucking bulletproof vest, which, I mean, I don't know why a burglar would be doing that. I don't know. I'm just saying. A fucking compound bow with arrowheads and shit. And... Yes, I understand it's a bit paranoid and shit. It's just... I'm just saying prolonged periods of isolation and just feeling like everyone hates you, feeling like you're disgusting, feeling like your life has no value, nobody cares about you, everybody hates you, everybody wants to hurt you. And in general, just relationship-wise, like, hey, let's just be alone forever and feel lonely. And I mean, heck, one of the most important things I think gets covered pretty well in ASMR, and that is just feeling like somebody cares about you and respects you and appreciates you or wants you around. Or in general, just the ability to just, hey, feeling safe around someone. Because hell, I've been in relationships, like, especially toward the end of my marriage, I was more alone then than I am now. I'm a fucking crazy guy rambling at a fucking computer screen. But then isn't that all Let's Plays? Heck, that might even include all the VTubers. If I ever get around to making a fucking model, not that I ever fucking would stream with it, I'd probably just use it for a fucking video that I upload. I'd probably never use it actually live. Too antisocial to be a fucking anime character. But it's just... I'm just saying, it's I've been in relationships, particularly one that was wound up eventually going to shit, to where I felt more alone in that relationship than I do now. That was 1,000 times more lonely. I felt far more alone and isolated and unwanted, and it was just an even worse situation for my self-esteem. At least this, the only person telling me horrible things is myself, which I'm trying to be nicer to myself, okay? But but I've been in relationships. Particularly, I've been in a relationship where I was more alone in that relationship than I am now. To where it is less lonely to be single than to be with someone who makes you feel alone. And I think one important thing in a relationship is you want to be with someone you feel safe with. And I'll tell you this, I feel more safe alone in my isolation and paranoia than I did with that person. And like I said, I'm not going to try to sound all high and mighty and say sex and intimacy is purely about love and, a connection between two hearts and shit. To a large degree, I'm horny and I want to fuck. And even though I'm not attractive myself, I certainly do have an appreciation for people that have incredible beauty. That being said, if I do wind up doing stuff, if I ever do have a partner in the future, I don't think I've ever once been with somebody that I didn't have an emotional connection to, didn't have feelings for. For me, sexual intimacy is an expression of emotional intimacy. And some people say, oh, okay, you can't help but catch feelings. Okay, however you put it, I know people would describe me as a fucking pussy for it. But here's the thing. If I'm dating a woman and me and her are fucking, I have feelings. I have an emotional connection. It's special to me, okay? It's not something that feels disposable. And certainly I wouldn't want to feel like I'm disposable. And granted, if I probably ever had an opportunity to have a one-night stand, would I probably take it? Probably. I'm horny and desperate and lonely. That being said, afterward, I would probably have an emotional connection to that person, and I would feel sad not to keep talking to them. I'd want to be friends with them. Like if I were to meet a girl at a bar and just have a one-night stand and start fucking her, I'd want to wake up the next day and start playing Halo with her and eat some grilled cheese sandwiches and go for a walk and talk about what bands we enjoy. Yes, I know I'm weird, but it's just I can't separate the idea of sex and emotional intimacy. For me, they're very closely linked. And again, yes, I think about tons of hentai that I've watched and I enjoy. But again, why wouldn't I? The tentacle hentai is the closest thing I have to a partner. Haha. That being said, if I had a girlfriend, I'd actually want to watch the tentacle hentai with her. Which again, I know I'm weird. I'm just saying. Yes. I like sex. I like all that stuff that would be considered extremely lewd. Heck, probably the best sexual position is a 69, just because that's a lot of fun. Of course, there's cowgirl, missionary, doggy, and of course, that works with any mix of genders. It's just how things hook together. I'm just saying, Lunar D8 catches feelings. Yeah. It's just, for me, the emotional intimacy of it, it doesn't get separated. I don't understand how other people do that. How do you go and just have sex with somebody and not have an emotional connection? And even then, I want to have a bit of an emotional connection with somebody and know them a bit as a person before I fuck them. Heck, I want to feel like, okay, before I would fuck somebody, I want to feel, okay, this is somebody I can trust who trusts me. Somebody I care about who cares about me as well. I want to feel like we're friends. I don't want to just be with some random person and not feel safe with them, or not feel like I can trust them or care about them, or it's just, and yeah, I'm a horny, perverted freak, but why can't I have both, a loving, wholesome relationship and hardcore freaky sex? Why can't I have both? Well, I mean, technically my mind sees both as the same. Because I can't fuck somebody and not have an emotional connection. I mean, heck, probably the best thing is, you want the other person to like you. I mean, at that point, then why are you even talking to them? I mean, here lately, like I said, there was a time where I was constantly, just dealing with the rejections over and over, and I kept trying to talk to women, I kept trying to talk to people, and I'd say, and like I said, I'm not openly bi yet. Maybe it's, like I said, I'd still say there should be a dating app for, well, then again, dating apps are kind of garbage, but you guys get what I mean. Like a way for 22 and up futanari and femboys, and people that would want to date them and have relationships with them. Granted, I could talk in depth about what everybody would do together, but I feel that would be too lewd and inappropriate. That, and I'd probably be blushing too hard just trying to describe those things. But, yeah, maybe in the future. My ear is itchy. But, I don't know, maybe in the future. Just right now. Heck, I have to have conversations with people where I'm trying to... I've had a few IRL conversations in the past week with some people where I'm trying to describe that, someone being gay doesn't make them a bad person. Where I'm trying to argue that being gay or bisexual is not evil, it's not a sin, it's not morally or ethically wrong, it's not a bad thing. It's just people just want someone who loves and cares about them. At the end of the day, a sexual orientation, all it does is change who you're attracted to. That's it. It doesn't make you violent, it doesn't make you a murderer or a rapist or a predator or a cannibal or any of that shit. And people are like, that sounds like, why was that ever a concern? Because I've talked to people who are religious or in churches, and their default is they think that, okay, if somebody's gay, well, they're a murderer, they're a rapist, they're evil, and I'm trying to argue that point that, a person's sexuality doesn't change them as a person. It doesn't make them violent, doesn't make them bad, they're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with someone being gay or bisexual. And granted, I'm having this conversation from them having the stance of me being 100% heterosexual, but that's from the point of the fact that, well, these people can't really be trusted in regard to how they would react about things. And everyone's like, Lunar, why do you bother, going to churches and talking to people? I'm trying, okay? One, it's partially trying to be sociable. Two, It's the fact that I'm trying to get other people to at least understand things from my point of view. Because like I said, I see nothing wrong with people being gay. I mean, like I said, I'm bisexual. Certainly wouldn't be against a hot 6'4" futanari girlfriend with big tits and a big cock and a pretty face and long hair and braids, and me and her going to the movies or something. And then playing Halo. Even though I don't have Halo on the PS5. What's the closest thing to Halo on the PlayStation 5? Or a game like it? Is it Cyberpunk at this point? I don't know. Talking about game genres. But it's just... Heck, I had to argue with somebody about, like, they were talking about people that are in prisons. And they're like, oh, see? Like, all the rape that happens there is because they're gay. And, like, they're not raping people because they're gay. They're raping people because they're rapists. It's a different thing. Only thing sexual orientation changes is whether or not you like dicks. That's basically it. And like I said, I'm bisexual. I like both, though I certainly have a strong preference for women. I like pretty faces and I like boobs, okay? But it's just they argue that, gay people are violent because look at the prisons and how people are getting raped. I'm like, that's not... The people in the prisons are, like, a lot of times they're people that are committed violent crimes. We're dealing with people that, they've... And a lot of times, they're people that that had drugs or been drug dealers or addicts or committed some sort of violent crime or tried to rob people or even murdered people. And again, I don't know how people are separated in prisons. Obviously, there's a difference between a max security prison and just a correctional facility. But at the end of the day, I mean, prison is not a nice place for anyone to be. It's certainly a place I would never want to be. But I'm arguing that the people doing the violent, things in the prison isn't because of their sexuality. Someone being gay doesn't make them violent. It's like saying that someone's just going to be violent because of their sexuality. Like, okay, there's a straight guy in a room full of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and everyone's naked, and they all have giant tits. And then, the straight guy's going to rape all of them. No! Why? No. All it means is that he's going to have a very awkward boner as he tries to hide it and pretend that he's not, turned on. But everyone's going to be embarrassed. I imagine everyone's going to be hiding their genitals and just sort of... Again, there's going to be exceptions to that. There's going to be people that are violent. But in general, that's a vast, itty-bitty minority out of a vast number of people. Though granted, it gets covered on the news quite a bit, so you think it's a lot more than it is, but the main point is that someone's sexuality doesn't make them violent. Same way a person's gender doesn't change what kind of person they are. Hell, a lot of the issues when it comes between male and female bullshit going on nowadays that I'm trying to argue with people is because of the society we live in. At the end of the day, it's just simply because a lot of laws, the way the government's set up, it's almost like the people that are the richest people in the world are just trying to make everyone fight each other. So it's more so a societal and culture issue. A person's gender or orientation doesn't affect that. A person can make their own choices. But yeah, it's the people try to say that, the people in prison, they're doing all this raping because they're gay. I'm like, that's not how that works. Sexual orientation doesn't affect that. All it does is change who you think is pretty and who you find attractive. It doesn't make you some violent predator. Hell, if you look back at the old 50s PSAs, they try to make it sound like anyone who is gay, like, oh, maybe you know a homosexual, blah, blah, blah. You guys remember the fucking black and white PSAs. They try to make it sound like anybody that's gay is just like kidnapping fucking people from elementary schools and raping and dumping the bodies and murdering people. It's like, what the fuck? Then again, you have the stuff like all sorts of racist things. Like, you have things targeting black people, you have things targeting white people, you have things targeting Mexicans, you have things targeting Chinese people. And it's like, what the fuck's even happening? It's like everyone's trying to just hate everybody. And I'm like, why? Why can't everyone just get along? I just want everyone to be friends with each other. And now I want a fucking stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut because I'm a fucking fat ass and I can't stay on one topic for long. We're talking about like racial bullshit stuff, and then before that we're talking about like, you know, dicks and shit, and now I'm like, Pizza Hut. I want Pizza Hut because I'm fucking fat. I'm going to get Pizza Hut later, okay? You guys can't stop me. I'm getting Pizza Hut later. I'm gonna get like a large pepperoni pizza. And I'm going to get some of the sweet chili boneless wings. I think 16 piece. 16 piece of boneless sweet chili wings and a large pepperoni pizza. Then I'll probably play more Cyberpunk. And then I'll ride a fucking dildo. Yay! Everyone's like, too much information. Yeah, I guess. Whatever. Don't fucking care. It's just, someone being gay doesn't make them violent. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't mean they're going to hurt anybody. It just changes who they're attracted to. I'm bisexual. I find everyone attractive. Particularly feminine individuals. Like I said, I can have preferences. It's kind of like boobs. I like big boobs, but I would still motorboat A-cups. But of course, there's a preference. It's kind of like I like pussy and cock. But I actually have a bit of a preference for cock instead. You know, I've never actually been. But, hey. Francesca's just looking at me like, what the fuck are we talking about? I don't know anymore. But the main point being is like, heck, they tried arguing about like, oh, like, okay, the main reason why the people are doing the horrible things in prison is because they're violent people. And they're rapists and murderers. You know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, and that sort of thing. You just got to keep your head down because that sounds like a horrible, horrible place to be. But just the fact that, you know, people in a church are using that as their argument, that they're like, oh, well, we look at prisons and there's a bunch of rape happening there, and that's obviously all the people in the prison are men. So, which, oh my God, heaven forbid if there were actually a mixed population prison. I mean, in that situation, yes, women would be the primary target, which that's awful. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's an all-women prison or an all-men prison. There's people that are hurting other one, and there's people that get shanked all the time, or get beaten, or murdered, and all that shit. I don't know if prison attempts are really a thing. I mean, escape attempts are. But the main point is, it's because they're violent people. It's not because of their sexual orientation. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's this. Someone being gay is just a choice of their preference. It's the same as saying, oh, I like girls with red hair, or I like girls with blonde hair, or I like brunettes, or I like people that dyed their hair purple or blue, or some shit. You know? Or you like girls with longer hair, or shorter hair. That's just a person with a preference. Whereas a person who is a fucking rapist isn't a fucking human being anymore. Seriously. Anyone who actually would fucking rape another person and force themselves on someone else, you're not a fucking human anymore. But the people, like, I'm having an argument with people at a church, and they're equating them to the same thing. And it's just, how am I supposed to argue that fucking point? Like, I'm trying, okay? And it's just... And of course, I'm doing my best to stay calm. I'm just having a normal, calm, keeping a flat voice, you know, that sort of shit. But in my mind, I'm fucking screaming. I'm fucking going off the goddamn deep end in my mind on this conversation. Like, and plus, I'm extremely stressed out. I'm extremely anxious having this fucking conversation to where I can feel in my chest my fucking heart is beeping harder. And it's just, I am inwardly fucking just freaking the fucking out. I am feeling agitated. I'm feeling anxious. Of course, obviously, how they feel about it is, okay, if they're all of a sudden aware that, hey, guess what? I'm bisexual. Like, are they going to suddenly start trying to swing at me or yell like, oh, I'm some sort of evil, disgusting monster or some shit? Like, how are they going to fucking react to this shit? Same, I'm trying to have an argument, trying to defend pro-gay rights and shit, and it's just like, inwardly, like, okay, I can feel my fucking heart. It's just, like, again, I'm really good at fucking hiding this, to where I'm like, not, but at the same time, it's like a beep, 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 and I'm like, ah! So inwardly, I'm having a fucking psychotic mental fucking goddamn breakdown. And I feel extremely on edge and nervous and anxious and freaking the fuck out having conversation with these people. But on the outside, I'm being calm. I'm just talking in a normal way. Because that's what you have to do. That's how social interaction works. You have to understand, read the room if it were. Understand what is considered proper social protocol for the building and situation you are in and with the people you're talking to. Sometimes you have to change the way you enunciate certain words or how you talk about certain things or what subjects you talk about. I mean, that's just how you socially interact with people, correct? I mean, I'm not wrong on that. That's how talking to other human beings works. But I'm just saying, if I'm talking to people about certain subjects or certain people or certain situations, I do my best to hide it on the outside and be all calm and shit. But on the inside, I'm having a fucking... You guys get the point. You guys get the fucking... You get the point. We get the fucking point. And then there's the thing about the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing where I'm like arguing, okay, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because, the people were violent, and there were murderers, and there were rapists, and there were cannibals, and there were highwaymen, and they attacked travelers, and they were attacking, trade routes and stuff like that. Basically, my point is this: this is an entire city that was these are entire cities were known for so much corruption, to where they were filled with so much violence and the bloodshed and the blood of innocent people, and people were getting murdered and raped and beaten and slavery, and they were just violent fucking murderers and rapists. And then they're like, no, it was destroyed because they were gay. And it's like, it had nothing to do with that. And it's like, well, there were more people being gay there at that point. Yes, during a point where there's a city that has basically complete lawlessness, stuff that's not really accepted in other places is going to be allowed more there too. But that's like saying, in a city with the highest murder rate percentage, that maybe people drink more alcohol. I don't know if that's true, but that would make sense, right? That there'd be more alcohol or drugs, or especially the illegal, dangerous drugs. Even though I was kind of halfway joking about the idea, like asking a doctor to give me a prescription fucking meth or some shit at some point in the future. But the idea is like, I'm a very tired person. I'm exhausted all the time. I have migraines. I'm tired. Everything tends to hurt all the time. And I definitely have some psychological issues in terms of paranoia and depression and loneliness. I don't remember what fucking hugs feel like, with the exception of just my son and my mother. And even then, that's not very often. So I'm just alone and lonely and feel worthless and unwanted all the time. So yay, psychological, just whatever bullshit's wrong with me. But the main point I'm just saying with the whole angels thing, like, yeah, all the people attacked the angels and they wanted to rape the angels. Yes, because they were rapists. Because they were violent, murderous rapists. They were horrible people. That wasn't because they were gay. You know what happens when a bunch of gay people see somebody that they think is pretty? The same thing when a straight guy sees a woman who's extremely pretty at a bar. Either one, they'll be quiet and not approach them and just think, hey, that person's really pretty. It would be awesome to have a relationship with them and maybe take them out to dinner. Or they go up to them and talk to them, hey, how's it going? Oh, you're watching this one thing on the game. Were you betting on a certain team? And just have a normal conversation, try to strike up a conversation based on topical things like, oh, what are they wearing? Do they have a friend there? Like, you know, do they seem to have mutual interests? Like, if you see somebody come in with a fucking Halo sticker on their jacket, maybe they're into video games. You can talk about the latest game or the consoles or the specs of, you know, how many teraflops a PlayStation 5 has opposed to this, or the history of how different consoles and how, you know, or like, oh, what was the first game you played and stuff like that. Again, maybe I'm being awkward about that, but at least it's normal conversation. You're not going to see somebody, and again, there are people that would attack people, but that's fucked up. It is wrong to do that. And again, how? Why? It's just... It's just, fuck. I'm just saying this. There could be a literal actual fucking gay bar full of gay people, and then some guy comes in that's extremely handsome and pretty. He could be like the most Bashonen to ever Bashonen. And if anyone knows like what's Bashonen, it's the thing that's described. Usually, it's the Bashonen Shonen Jump mangas. Like it's the action stuff for it's shows aimed at men. But is my phone ringing? My phone's ringing. I'll have to check that in a bit. But the idea is this: Bashonen is basically it shows about Bashonen is a pretty boy. It's someone who's handsome. It's a guy who's pretty, and the idea being is this: a Bashonen could walk into a bar. Not everyone's just going to suddenly want to just rape the dude. Now, he might get a few people approaching him saying, hey, how's it going? And try to like riz him up. But someone's sexual orientation is not going to make them violent or want to rape somebody. It's just going to mean, hey, I think that person's pretty. I'm going to talk to them, try to get to know them. Maybe I could, you know, get them interested in, you know, some subject I'm interested in, like sports or a game or a movie or something. And we can have a conversation, get to know each other. I'm just saying this. Someone's sexual orientation is not going to make them violent. Like literally, like everyone at a bar could be gay. It doesn't mean they're going to assault a pretty boy or pretty man that comes in just because they're attractive or because they're your sexual orientation doesn't make you violent. Someone being gay doesn't mean they're going to be violent or try to murder or rape people. It just changes who you're attracted to. And of course, the main thing in the past with people, you know, not like being gay, and like, oh, Bible says man shall not be with another man. Like, also says not to eat bacon or shellfish or wear clothing of mixed colors. I mean, heck, there's no commandment saying not to own slaves, but there's a commandment saying not to covet your neighbor's slave. Main point being is this: in the past, you needed a society, you needed Israel to grow as a nation. It's not a lot of the rules that were set up were not about ethics. They were about efficiency. It was about how to run a nation, how to make it grow and prosper. You had a nation that was surrounded by enemies. It needed to be able to grow in a population, so you had to constantly keep growing more people in order to use basically for cannon fodder for war or to work the fields or grow as a people. You have to have a constantly growing population, even in peacetime, to have a successful economy or society. Then there's just straight up the fact is that, okay, they didn't have antibiotics or modern medicine or condoms or lube. Plus, it was just a very different mindset back then. And perhaps the biggest thing of all is this. Okay, if you're having a government control people, it's got the whole thing about tithes. It's like, oh, you have to pay 10%. Heck, there's some people at the church saying, oh, you need to pay 20% of your gross income before taxes. And plus, I'm like, no, fuck you guys. Everyone's like, maybe it was a mistake for you to go and try to talk to religious people about things. I'm still trying to reason with people, okay? I'm trying for people to see things the way again, it's not like I'm trying to force my views on them. I just want them to be open-minded and try to understand, at least understand. I'm just trying to be civil, to have a conversation with people, to try to have an understanding with people. And like I said, another thing is that the tithes was, the government back then in ancient Israel was the government, the church, the same thing. Tithing was the IRS. I mean, there's no government that can't get by without taxes. And that's what that was. I mean, the church and the government were one and the same. Even when you had Saul, David, and Solomon, the actual kings, there really wasn't much of a division between, church and state was identical even then when there was actual kings. It was just taxes. It was just the IRS. It was just a system of rules that made their society function better. It was the whole idea of how do you make a society function with. And that was it. It was just all about efficiency. I mean, hell, what was that thing that started with the letter M? Fuck. Machiavellian. I can't remember it. That's a very simple word. It's a very commonly used word. I can't remember. What is that word? It describes a philosophy about where you don't care about morality or ethics. It's all about what is the most efficient way to reach your goal. Like if you want power, you want wealth, well, it's just an issue. How dirty do you want to play? It's Malachian. I can't remember. That should be Machiavellian. Machiavellian. Oh, I'll type it into Google. Got Milano cookies. Macab. Fucking hell. Machiavellian. Right? Load! Can you load? Internet, work better. What? That's not what I wanted. Machiavellianism. Okay. So we can pronounce this. Machiavellianism. Machiavellianism. In the field of personality psychology, Machiavellianism is a personality trait characterized by interpersonal manipulation, indifference to morality, lack of empathy, and a strategic focus on self-interest. What was Machiavelli's theory? The end always justifies the means. Among his most famous dictates that it's better to be feared than loved, and that the appearance of virtue is more important than virtue itself. Okay, that's it. That's what I'm trying to describe. I'm trying to describe Machiavellianism, but in terms of a society and a government social construct, as opposed to an individual person. The idea is that a lot of the laws and rules are based off of either biased bigotry that some people had, or just ends justify the means for a powerful society that could become a powerful empire. The idea is that a society that follows those rules could eventually become all-powerful given enough time. It's just an issue of fuck any sort of compassion or care. It's all about efficiency and how we get power. Then again, that's perhaps why I'll probably be poor forever, because I'm not willing to do anything wrong. Like I said, I just want to live my life basically being a fucking pacifist. I don't want to ever hurt anybody. Hell, I couldn't imagine ever actually killing anyone. And granted, I do all the time in video games, but that's a video game. In real life, I mean, I could never see myself becoming in the fucking military or the police force. And again, I'm not judging the people that do. It's just, one, I don't have what it takes, emotionally or physically, to deal with it. Two, I'm pretty sure I'd get myself killed. Three, I have a bit of an issue with authority, whether it be this. Does police count as civilian? I'm pretty sure, yeah, police is still civilian. So whether it be a civilian organization like the police or straight up federal military that's, non-civilian. I don't remember the word for non-civilian. But I'm just saying this. I'd have an issue with dealing with that authority or being told what to do, or especially imagine if I couldn't imagine myself going to a fucking boot camp having a drill sergeant fucking yelling at me. Again, I appreciate that there are people who have gone into that, and hell, there are so many people, veterans, people that either died in the line of duty or became crippled or went through horrible, horrible things. And I'll tell you this, I could never physically or emotionally deal with any of that. I forget what the fuck. I'm just criticizing the fucking government, okay? Not criticizing the people or the soldiers. I'm just annoyed at the governments of every nation throughout the history of the entire fucking planet. Mainly because I just feel helpless and powerless and like I have no say in anything and I'm just some random guy and I have no authority at all. And even then, would I even want authority? What would I do with it? Would I wind up abusing that authority? Probably. I'd probably be an evil, horrible monster with whatever authority I have, and it would probably gradually change me into someone I would never be able to recognize as even myself. Point being is that, another thing with the family unit is that, back then, it made it easier to control people, especially if the government and the church controls who you're allowed to marry, and the only way you're allowed to have sex is by marrying. Well, then it means that the church and the government, which at that point were the one and the same, have complete control over people, which gives rich people with authority and power control over people that are poor. Plus, it's just, like I said, Machiavellianism. It's not about right or wrong. It's just an issue, what made their society grow and have more power. And also, bigotry and people just judging like, oh, whether or not you being bigoted toward people that are gay or of a different race or color, orientation or gender or whatever. I'm gonna end the video. I'm sorry I went off fucking goddamn fucking bullshit fucking time. How do I pull up the fucking save menu? Where is the save? System. How do I do that? Phone. Okay, I'm gonna save the game. We'll come back to this some other time. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Sorry I got just it's okay, but I'm gonna end the video. I hope everyone out there is doing good. And I know it's a couple days skins, but I still Merry Christmas. I hope everyone, even if you don't believe in Christmas or anything, I just hope you had a good day. I hope you were able to spend time with family or friends, and that there's somebody that loves and cares about you, and that you're all healthy and happy. And I just want all of you to be happy, okay? Just, if I could, I'd give you a hug. Just, I gotta go. Okay, did I already save? I can't remember if I saved. Did I save? Maybe let's save again. Okay, we're saved. Okay, I'm gonna end the video. Bye, everybody. Bye. I'm gonna go now. Bye. How do I quit? Okay, that's the end of the video. If I can, did it freeze? I think everything crashed. How do I get to OBS? Okay, OBS is up. I'm sorry that just whatever. I don't know. It's just. Bye, everyone.